webinar start. There it goes. Yeah, everybody's in. I'd like to welcome everybody back from summer break and hope you had a fun vacation time and make good use of your time as we begin this new school year. I'd like to welcome everybody. We'll begin by starting the meeting at, I got 6:07, and let's take a roll call. Trustee Sullivan is here. Trustee Hupp will not be here. Trustee Romero and Trustee Canby.
Present.
Trustee Dryden.
Present.
Dr. Ramirez.
Present.
And Ms. Peterson.
He will not be present.
And Ms. Torres.
Present.
Okay. Thank you, one and all. If I can get a motion to adopt the agenda.
I so move.
In a second.
I'll second.
If there any discussion about the items on the agenda that need to be moved or anything? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the agenda as it's presented, say aye. Aye. All those in favor, opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401. Do that, yeah. Public comment on closed subject items, closed session items, excuse me. There are no public comments. With that, we'll adjourn to closed session where we'll discuss employee performance evaluation, district negotiations, personnel, and potential litigation as provided by the Ed Code. And with that, we'll be back in about a half an hour. Our regular board meeting at 7:08. We took a little longer than we anticipated in a closed session. Appreciate your patience. We'll now begin. Coming out of closed session, we discussed negotiations, potential litigation, and personnel matters, and no action was taken. We'll now like to begin with our official opening with the Pledge of Allegiance. If everybody please join me by standing, facing the flag. Right hand over heart, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now then, our next item is adoption of the minutes from our June 10th meeting and the special board meeting of June 12th. Can I get a motion?
I move to adopt the minutes from the regular meeting on June 10th, 2025, and the special board meeting on June 12th, 2025.
And a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401. Audience to address the board. Seeing how we don't have anybody here, I'm assuming there's no comments to be made. So now we'll go into superintendent's report. Dr. Ramirez.
Thank you very much, Board President, Mr. Sullivan. I wanted to just welcome everybody back to the new school year. My report really focuses on not only the start of the year, but the summer work that we undertook around facilities and even our instructional program. So we'll start with just some recent events that led up to the school year opening. Starting with, yes, let's just go ahead and go with the. This is just something that happens every year. Our annual re-enrollment and family dashboard. That's something that was sent out a few weeks ago. An ongoing reminder that meals continue to be free of charge for our students, and this year, in large part, because of some last minute delays to our cafeteria kitchen, kids will be receiving some special lunches throughout the week. So anyway, I like doing those things, and the kids seem to agree with me. Moving.
Is that still funding from state or federal funds?
Yes, it is reimbursable. A lot of our meals are reimbursable. And to answer your question globally about universal meals, we still get a base amount from the federal government. I know that there's been talks about withholding funds, but that is not the case, at least in terms of our meal program. And it is supplemented by state funding in order to make the costs, make the school district whole in terms of the cost. So thank you very much for pointing that out. Moving on. Let's see, events, recent events. We had our staff return, our certificated staff, and actually many of our classified return on Tuesday, August 13th for a big school-wide celebration. Really wonderful opportunity to reconnect and just get re-energized. That day, as well as the following, we're really dedicated to a lot of reflection, a lot of commitments or recommitments to ongoing efforts. And Wednesday, more specifically, was a lot of professional learning collaboration, namely, but not exclusively, around our implementation of AVID and illustrative math as a math program in our grades K-5. Of course, there are other certificated staff, and whether it's special education staff or our counseling staff, they have been incredibly supportive of all of our efforts and have found a key way to have a role. So very appreciative to have them back. Great energy, great camaraderie, and enthusiasm. Next slide, please. That evening, or the evening of Wednesday, August 13th, we had our Tiger Cub meet and greet. That's an annual tradition, great opportunity for our teachers to introduce themselves to our new families. We actually met in this room. You'll see that picture. This room was just packed. Really great enthusiasm, really great energy. Many returning families, but also new families. And some families that actually, who are welcoming new TK and Kers to us, whose kids are past middle school. So that was nice to reunite with a few of them as well. Our PFO was here supporting our teachers, wonderful in getting to know the kids, getting to set, a foundation for community. And it was just really a nice evening, a nice opportunity to show them, who we are, or to reintroduce ourselves to some families that maybe haven't had a kiddo in TK or K in a few years. So that was just a wonderful night, very well attended. And like I said, this room was standing room only, and we're very appreciative for our families coming out. We had to shift. We initially were going to have our middle school orientation in person. We had to shift that online, just given where we were on the facility side. But that one was also very well attended. It's primarily geared to our incoming sixth graders, but we have new families coming in seventh, in particular, sixth and seventh, that also benefit from hearing and introducing our staff and who we are anew. So it was a great way of just setting a tone and really declaring some priorities and dealing with some housekeeping items, technology, just general expectations, as well as exposing them to many clubs and activities that have really grown up and have matured over the last several years. So it was really nice to reconnect with these kiddos. For years now, we have really not been very intentional about not taking for granted the transition from fifth to sixth, even though it's in the same building. It is a milestone, and it is important to acknowledge that there's a shift for kids and for families. So it was very well attended, happened online. We're hoping, by next year, we're able to bring that back in person. And this was a late addition to my presentation, but we did have our playground ribbon cutting ceremony earlier this morning. Thank you for the trustees who were able to attend. Thank you more or beyond that for just the support in getting that project supported, on track. And I think, the enthusiasm that has been building now for a couple of weeks, and then what we saw today throughout the day, but especially in the morning, I think speaks for itself in terms of what the community, um, how the community appreciates that coming together for us. So I'm very grateful to all of you, very grateful to our extended community here in Mesa, for passing a bond that would allow us to move in that direction. And so it was a nice little celebration. We're hoping to get something going to really bring everybody together and celebrate. And I'm glad that we could tie it together before, everybody jumped in there and started playing. But it was really a nice moment, and thank you all for making that possible with your support and over the last several months, especially. Moving on, learning and engagement. We continue to focus on these areas that are very, very important. And I wanted to touch upon our expansion, starting with our expansion of Avid. Well, here's our framework for the future, but let me start with mathematics, actually. So this is our second year of implementation of illustrative math in grades K-5. I think last year were many, many important lessons about how the curriculum functions, what it intends to do, how it promotes critical thinking, the learning routines that it fosters. And our teachers, I think, are infinitely more prepared to tackle this year, just based on that experience. It was really well received. We had some good opportunities for, again, reflection, but also agreements for this coming year. We did have our first session on Wednesday. That should be Wednesday, August 13th. I'm sorry about that. Our second session is slated for Monday, November 10th, and our third for this year will happen on Monday, January 5th. Now, those are standalone events, but those are intended to really provide opportunities for tailored learning with the curriculum and digging deeper into how it's intended to be implemented. So with that said, that's underway, and it will continue to be a priority for us this year. In Avid, we are expanding into the lower grades, TK2, which would make us now a full school-wide implementation. Our TK2 teachers over the summer received a foundational training through the Summer Institute for Avid. What was reported back were several things. One is a real way of understanding how many of the things that they've been doing and their learning routines and their approaches to engaging students in learning really do cross map to the routines promoted by Avid. So there's really going to be just some adjustments to be made rather than a wholesale thing. The other thing is also just understanding and seeing it over time, how important it is to really establish continuity. So there were some areas of focus that continue to be for us important. Note taking as early as TKK in pre-writing, organization. That's something that we will continue to focus upon. Writing beyond the note taking, and then that commitment to critical thinking and promoting critical thought. All of this with an idea of preparing our kids for that college and career pathway that opens up more fully come high school. And we really want to make sure that whether our kids decide to go into whatever walks of life they do, that they're prepared as thinkers and as competent learners, and in order to tackle whatever it is that is on the horizon. On the facilities front, obviously the playground structure, that was a huge accomplishment. Project costs there are going to come from the Measure O bond program. There was one, and you'll see it later in the agenda, one change order to that, some work that had to happen in prepping the ground for it, some footings that needed to be, that weren't in the scope of contract original to lead construction. But beyond that, everything really flowed smoothly. I was very pleasantly surprised. They mobilized immediately. Everything got, all the old equipment was removed very, very quickly. And they just were very diligent, both contractors, both in terms of the groundwork and then ultimately the installation of the actual apparatus and then pouring the surface. So we were done about 2 weeks ago now. But just to make sure that we were on the up and up and that everything was going well, we stayed off of it and stayed clear of it for about another week after that. So just very thankful to the staff for being patient and working around it, and very thankful to our contractors who made really good and quick work of the project and came in on time. Actually, a little ahead of schedule, but definitely on time.
I think the new playground is just the perfect timing. You know, we have so many new families. I love the simplicity of the ribbon cutting ceremony. It was all very nice. And I think that families, you know, it was well received.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the kids were just overjoyed. And, you know, we're just setting norms, you know, because there's a lot of excitement and we're just trying to really reinforce how to play with the equipment, how to make sure that we're still living up to the spirit of it. So it's day one, a lot of enthusiasm, all well received, and we're going to capitalize on that because ultimately that's the most important thing. But I would agree, Ms. Runner, I think it was very well received. Even when we sent certain previews in social media, there was a lot of excitement building up. And so the kids were very, very much looking forward to it. And so very excited. And truth be told, there were a couple of adults that may have gotten on there. I'm not going to delve into details, but I can assure you that it is good for all ages. All right. So with that said, moving on, there's some pictures of the equipment, and you know, people really appreciated some of the finer touches, the little things that I think make it more a Mesa kind of a structure rather than something that just kind of got dropped in. And I heard some commentary to that extent.
Kids are
very
so
good.
excited to have so many more swings.
Yes, yes. And the majority of them are tandems.
Right.
So built into the entirety of this apparatus is musicality, movement, collaboration, and really inclusion for all ability levels and mobility levels, right? So there's just a lot of thought put into it, and I'm glad that it's coming across that way.
Yeah. Climbing wall was another hit.
Yes, yes. And it's the kind of thing that, you know, will hopefully hang on to them for a little longer.
Did you go down a slide?
I have not. I have not.
One of the teachers
I have
did.
not.
Oh,
I have not. I have learned how to live vicariously through children for many years now and through others, and that actually warms my heart. But one of these days I will give it a shot. Moving on, kitchen and cafeteria remodel. You'll see there more or less what was the original scope of the project. The centerpiece of that was our freezer replacement. But there were other areas that once we heard from the contractors, really needed our attention. It's an older facility, and we wanted to just take advantage of the opportunity to upgrade some infrastructure. So there was an expansion, and you'll see all of these enumerated in the agenda. There was the door replacement. There's a doorway that was expanded to make it far easier to bring in produce, to remove appliances, whatever the case might be, even for cleaning purposes. There was a repair of a sewer line that extended about halfway through the kitchen. There were some electrical upgrades that were made as well that just were necessary in order to just be better suited for the new appliances. And then in the cafeteria, there was the installation of new drywall on all of those walls. Unfortunately, those walls just were not in the best of shape. And so we took it upon ourselves to capitalize on the opportunity. And so you'll see some of that come across, and hopefully you come see it whenever you visit or some events happen, because we do a lot of congregating in that cafeteria, and we want it to look its best.
Miss Sussex would enjoy your company. She'd love to show it off to you.
Yes, Miss Sussex has been fantastic, and the ladies there, Elvira and Paula, I can't say enough good things about their hard work throughout the summer, but even their work last night, they were here late preparing the space. So very, very grateful to all of them for and they're so invested. And it's wonderful to see. So project costs, wherever there are additional costs being incurred, we do have a state kitchen improvement grant from a couple of years ago that we are spending down. And this would fit into our spend down plan of Fund 14, which is our cafeteria fund. And these are all allowable expenses to upgrade the facilities. We actually did a small storage closet as well, because there was some remodeling that some storage space was lost. So all that to say that we capitalized on this both because there was a need, but also because we wanted to increase the functionality of that space, because we are serving more meals than ever, in large part, obviously, because of the Universal Meals Program. But anyway, I just wanted to share that, and here are some pictures of what it looks like. And I'm sorry, I failed to mention the flooring was also replaced. So it's a very, very differently situated space that I think is going to serve us really, really well for years to come. I think this is one of the last points, but this has been an ongoing thing for me. And I can report back that all of our charging stations are operational, and all of them are functioning and working. Our bus 6, we ran into a little minor problem. Minor. It will be resolved, and the goal is to get it out on the road this week or next, because we need it, and because the kids have come to expect it, and they're very patient with me. So with that said, next steps around that, I'm actively working with Nuvve, whose platform we're utilizing to operationalize the V2G, or vehicle to grid technology. Believe it or not, Southern California Edison is very much in the rears with that capacity to be able to take on what we are able to provide. And basically what that means is this, in simple terms: you draw power at times that are optimal to your bottom line, and you feed it back into the grid during peak times when you can effectively sell it back at a better rate, and thereby help the grid in terms of its usage.
You're selling that energy that was on the batteries in the bus? back
Correct.
to the grid?
That would be the long-term plan. And that is one of the features that, and one of the reasons that we went with Nuvve, because there's but a choice number of EV charger sellers, manufacturers that have that technology at this present time. And so much so that Southern California Edison only has these small programs that aren't quite universal yet, but we're very much ahead of the curve on this one. I think it's going to be great for our battery life. It's going to be great for our bottom dollar when it comes to energy consumption, and being able to get us on the right side, right, of electrification. But the chargers, and all of the chargers, are equipped with bidirectional capacity. Okay, and that's what they look like. If you ever, just on your way out, you'll see them there to the left of the exit entrance. And those two are the ones that are the new installs, and they're not numbered yet, but they'll basically be numbered 1 through 4. So I think it's a great project for us, and it will serve us well for quite a long time.
How many miles per hour is it charging?
60 kW. So they are considered level 3. They're on the lower end of level 3, but they're very much, they meet our need and then some. So we can certainly expand our fleet, and we do intend to. We're going to be receiving another EV here this fall. And in the future, other electric vehicles, other trade-ins for existing diesels, all those are certainly in play. I do want to hold off until the technology gets a little better and the mileage and the range gets improved. I think that we're not far off from that. And I think that will be a good opportunity for us to have virtually an all-electric fleet. Moving into classroom furniture, we did take another big step forward. We outfitted an additional 8 classrooms this summer with desks and chairs. I cannot tell you how much the kids enjoy the chairs. They have a little give, they have a little wiggle. And for most of us who are not trained to sit in one place for extended periods of time, It provides us that little rocking motion that allows us to attend without being a distraction. And wish I would have had this growing up. Didn't. So again, living vicariously through children, this is a nice little feature that they've all really appreciated. But to the bigger point, it's about modernizing our spaces and making sure that our classrooms fit the learning routines that we're promoting. Collaboration, opportunities for mixed grouping, for groups and learning to look different than traditional rows and desks. And lastly, attendance. Our goal is 97. It's an ambitious goal. But as I mentioned in my welcome back message, 2 years ago it was 95. We met it. Last year was 96. We met that. And I just can't overemphasize or emphasize enough the importance of attendance. For continuity, for learning, for socialization, community building, the list goes on and on. And I don't see the downsides, I only see upsides. So it's just a matter of working with our families for that full partnership. So anyway, we'll report back on a monthly basis on that. Upcoming events, you'll see a few of them here. We do have our back to school night scheduled for September 10th and Picture Day, which is always a highlight for our kids. And with that, I'll go ahead and conclude my superintendent's report.
Any other questions or comments?
I guess I'll just comment this morning. Yeah, there was so much vibe and anticipation at the gates. Like, it was very exciting, everybody, because there was so much, social media or whatever, the way we communicated for various different types of ways that the school promoted that. There was a big crowd, right, standing outside before school has started. And I can say, as somebody who has been at the Welcome Tunnel for years in a row, that was the biggest crowd we've ever had at the beginning of school. And so I think that was great. There was so much excitement, bringing everybody in, but just seeing the kids' faces also, looking at their teachers that are a part of the Welcome Tunnel, and even administration, it's a part of the Welcome Tunnel, just watching their faces light up as they saw their teachers that they knew, the people that they felt comfortable with, so excited to be back with their friends. Like, you could tell this was a second home. And I just thought it was so heartwarming to see that and to be a part of that.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Just a question on furniture. Are we done buying furniture for this school year, or is that something we're still trying to look into for additional classes?
We're still looking into it. We're pretty close to exhausting the original earmark amount. And mind you, we've been focusing very intently on desks, chairs, student and teacher. But we've made a huge dent into the total number. But to answer your question, we will continue to make that a priority for this year, exhausting remaining funds. There also is an additional grant that we could use to get us closer to that, to being at scale, and then there's other furniture needs that extend beyond that, right, into other spaces, whether it's offices or also even within classroom spaces, things that have not been tended to yet that really could stand an upgrade. So yes, that will be an ongoing thing. We want to accelerate it to the extent that we can, so that we don't see lags, in terms of furniture types and opportunity for kids. So that remains an ongoing priority.
I just appreciate the fact that there's finally something that's forward that the parents and students can see, and teachers as well. That was greatly received, and there was a lot of excitement this morning.
Just add that I did notice the preparation in many of the classrooms that I went to. The teachers were prepared, and it was noticeable. So I want to thank them for taking the time to prepare for today, because even though it's the first day of school, there's a lot of time and thought and preparation that goes into it. So it came across.
Thank you for noticing that. Our teachers, hardworking, our staff, hardworking, they're invested, and they want to showcase their best and provide that warm, welcoming environment for kids. I'm glad that it came across to you, both as a trustee and as a parent. because they work really hard. They spend many hours of their time to make sure that these classrooms look their best, and it puts a lot of pressure on us to make sure that all of the spaces look that way. And I'm glad that, we just continue to make that better and better every year. At least that's our goal. So thank you for saying that. I know that there are some teachers listening, and I'm sure that will be very well received. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, let's go on to board members' reports and communications. Any correspondence? Reports and communications or interests and concerns?
I'll just do a push. I was really excited to see the social media also going out for PFO, right? All the great things that they do. We're already starting the 180-day campaign drive, for donations. And, Carnival will be again in the fall this year. And it's something that the more community volunteering and engagement we have in that, in terms of not only parents, but even high schoolers come back and volunteer for the night at different booths. And I just think it's really highlights this community school, having so many community partners, families and different organizations come and support. So I just want to make sure that everybody kind of signs up, keeps an eye on that. I know back to school night will be one of those plugs for parent volunteers. And even messaging already has gone out for, room parents and things like that. So I just think we have started this year off with such a bang in terms of organization for these great opportunities that really can bring parents and grandparents and community members into our wonderful community.
I second that. Anything else? Hearing none, let's move on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion for the consent agenda?
I so move.
And a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion?
I guess I only want to just bring up that there's a lot of purchase orders, at the very beginning of the school year, but really more than half of them are kind of some pass-through costs. And so they are not like our typical operating budget. So I just wanted to make sure that people recognize that in case they're looking at the numbers and saying, whoa, but more than half is actually a pass-through with Golden Valley Charter. So yeah. I just wanted to bring that out in case people hadn't seen that detail or looked into that yet.
Is there anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the consent agenda as it's presented, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Let's see. That brings us over to item 11, the information. There's no information.
No.
So we're going on to 12, which is action items. Can I get a motion for the item that says receive the Golden Valley Charter School budget?
I move to receive the 2025-2026 Golden Valley Charter School budget.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
They're in a good financial position. They've got positive cash flow expected for the year, and they had a revenue surplus to get them through because they had an increase of enrollment. So it was just only positive things. What I saw.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yes, that's accurate. And I just wanted to highlight their increased enrollment. They've been very conscientious about outreach and satisfying families. And so I really want to continue to credit their executive director, Ms. Deanna Downs. The last 3 years have been good in terms of continuing to stay nimble and continuing to stay a good, vibrant school community that's servicing a parent base and family base that's looking for that homeschool option. So that said, their enrollment is up and they're staffing to meet that need.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the 2025-2026 Golden Valley Charter School budget, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Consideration of the approval of the 2025-2026 consolidated application request, known as CARS, formerly known as the CONAP.
I so move to approve the 2025-2026 consolidated application report.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion.
I know that Dr. Camby raised this point earlier. This specifically is to federal funding. And it's an application for very specific programs provided by the federal government. I know that there's been a lot of headlines made about the federal government or the Department of Education withholding funds from California that at the local level, at the Mesa level, has not hit us. And we've seen a lot of traction, or I should say retraction of that initiative. So right now, we are assuming that we will be funded commensurate with our enrollment and demographics and criteria for those individual programs. We're assuming so. In the event that we don't, we have contingency plans, but I just wanted to make that point given that it's been in the public headlines.
Anything else?
I just wanted to confirm that the numbers in this are comparable to like our LCAP numbers that we discussed last year.
They are, and the struggle with it is that they're all pulling from different times of the year and different, in certain instances, different years altogether. So I can tell you they're consistent to the criteria that are established in a particular report. And since Mrs. Peterson and her office handle our LCAP demographic and financial data, those two do align one to the other. And this is also a great opportunity for me to acknowledge Mrs. Torres, who, in addition to many hats that she wears here, also pours over CalPADS data, and CalPADS data feeds into this demographic data that is reported out to the federal government. So she comes over this, identifies errors, clarifies errors, is constantly scanning for that, and it's a great opportunity to acknowledge and thank her because that is part of her duties. And then she hands me reports that she ensures that I see and sign off on, and on we go. But yes, they all very much analyzed numerous times a year.
It's always a big undertaking.
It is.
Anything else? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the 2025-2026 CONAP or CARS report, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Item C, consideration of approval of the MOU with the Interface Children and Family Services. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll go ahead and second the motion.
Discussion.
As the item suggests, this Interface is a community-based agency providing mental and social emotional support for students and families. They also have a programming side providing direct training and development to our frontline staff here on site. They are very reputable, longstanding. We partner with them periodically throughout the year and over time whenever the need arises. Right now, that need has not arisen directly, but we are looking to revisit what trainings and opportunities might exist for us to bring more services here to Mesa. So they've proven themselves over the years to be a quality partner and one that adds value to our services here on site.
Great.
Are there costs to their services?
There wouldn't be cost to our district unless we were to, they're actually, I won't go into how it could be because we wouldn't use them that way. There are not, and they do work with Medi-Cal and private insurance wherever that's available, but that would be then to the family specifically to arrange in terms of any future services. For they've never billed us for anything. And I don't suspect that we would have any reason to enter into that. That's why you don't see a menu of costs associated, or I'm sorry. Yeah, you don't see a menu of costs. They're mostly in-kind services.
And how how do our students or families receive these referrals for this service? How do they get introduced?
It's a
to
great
this?
question. Yeah, mostly they would start with school-based counseling, and if it continues to outgrow what we can provide, we would start to look at external referrals. Unfortunately, many of these agencies are very limited in terms of their availability. So we advocate for families in certain instances to try to seek out services, and Interface is one of those agencies. There are others, including Ventura County Behavioral Health. And that's why that would be for a fee if that was required. But not this service. This would be in kind, more or less of a partnership and a referral from one agency to the other.
Anything further? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the MOU with Interface Children and Family Services, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Item D, consideration of the approval of the proposal of Valor for the kitchen door replacement and expansion.
So move.
I'll second.
And discussion?
As I mentioned in my superintendent's report, here are 3 items that are effectively change orders to existing contracts. So just to front load all 3 of them. The first one, item D, is for the kitchen door replacement that I mentioned. It's a wider door, provides us greater access into the kitchen. It's the door that leads from the cafeteria into the kitchen, so as to not expand outside where it's forward facing. The change was made internally, which still provides us a lot of opportunity to bring in equipment or produce. The next one is for the paint and prep of the cafeteria walls, which was not part of the original scope of work. And then lastly, was Scott and Son, and I'm anticipating the next 2 items, by the way. And the next 2 is for fire alarm that needed to be relocated as a result of the door expansion. There was some equipment that needed to be moved and shifted. And so all of these are change orders to the original contract.
And will be paid through grant and cafeteria funding.
Yes. So all of these, we had a little bit more freedom, if you will, to enter into these change orders because we knew we had a reserve of money that is restricted. It can only be utilized for that space and to improve meal and food services.
Anything further? All those in favor of approving the proposal of the Valor for the kitchen door replacement expansion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. That
Nay.
motion carries 401 in favor. And item E, consideration and approval of the Valor for the prep and paint of the cafeteria interior walls and exterior doors. Can I get a motion?
I so move.
Second the motion.
And we've kind of had that discussion. Are there any further discussion items with that? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the proposal from Valor for the prep and paint of the cafeteria interior walls and exterior doors, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Then item F is consideration of the approval of the proposal from Scott and Sons for the kitchen fire alarm relocation. Can I get a motion for that?
Move.
I'll second.
And again, this is discussed by Dr. Ramirez. Anything further?
Just one question on these change orders. Do we have a dollar amount that needs board approval or is there any time we have a change order we need to do it? Is there a way that we could, within a certain limit, make it so we don't have to have, I mean, I know you go ahead and do it, but is there a set limit? We can say under a certain dollar amount, we can approve, you can
Yeah.
approve board approval for a certain, without having to go through all the steps? I'm just
Yes,
curious.
that's a great question. We have established it at $5,000 and above. I know that one is very borderline. I actually, at a later time, would like to engage the board in raising that to 10. I think 10 would still be an appropriate figure where it can still be, because the board ultimately votes on this in consent when you see the purchase orders, and all of that is our ledger in a very transparent way. But in order to make our meetings perhaps more efficient, I think that would be an appropriate shift to make. So maybe we can discuss that at a later date. But to answer your question, the practice is going 5,000.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further? All those in favor of approving the proposal from Scott and Sons for the kitchen fire alarm relocation, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Item G, consideration of the ratification of the change order from Lee Construction. Can I get a motion for that?
I so move.
I'll second.
Okay, and discussion on this one?
So here again, this was an item that was mentioned in my superintendent's report. This is part of that groundwork, and it's delineated there in items 1 and 2. There were footings that were laid out specific to the equipment, and those needed to be drilled, marked, and identified. It was not, and it did not appear in the original scope of work, either for Park and Play or for Lee Construction. It's 11,000 is the extent of the change orders for that project. Everything else really came in on budget with this exception, and that was a very specific piece of the work and the project that did not get properly identified in either contract.
Okay. And there's still going to be a small piece on the south side.
Great memory.
Yeah.
So yes, it just in a conversation that I had with Mr. Sullivan, there is another piece. It won't be a change order. It's going to be
Yeah.
considered another piece of the project.
Right.
But what we want to do is create better drainage for the event of rain or whatever it may be, so that water flows away from some vaults that are there with telecommunications equipment or lines immediately adjacent to the play structure. Those were repositioned by Lee Construction as part of this project. But what we want to do is create a drainage that clears those vaults. So that's something that has not been done. We'll look forward to bringing a proposal forward soon. But that's just the way to just increase the life of our facility,
Yeah.
really, but
And
also
protect the
make sure
data
that
vault.
water doesn't
Yeah.
collect in a particular area, but rather flows away from the structure.
So, and this is also being covered by Measure O bond.
Yes, that is correct. This change order would be part of that project.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of ratifying the change order from Lee Construction Company, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Item H, approval of the MOU with Mesa Union Teachers Association regarding the elected time released on the Education Code 44987. Can I get a motion?
I so move.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion.
This is the same as it has been in previous years, correct? The amount of time?
Yeah, actually, this is a new MOU. It's an MOU specifically for the MUTA president to have, as I mentioned in the MOU, 2 half-days equivalent max, 1 to 2, over the course of the year, or monthly over the course of the year, to be able to handle union affairs and union business. The cost of the subs will be covered by MUTA and CTA. So our net cost will be to the district is really none. We had many conversations about how to arrange that in a way that was feasible, both to instruction and continuity of learning, but also to our sub coverage and the like. And I think we've landed in a good place with that so that we can space it out in a way that makes sense for both sides.
So previously, we didn't offer any time.
And it wasn't codified this way, you know, whatever time may have existed was more ad hoc. So this would, it's for 1 year. We'll revisit and at the end of the year, depending on how it goes and make adjustments accordingly.
Anything else? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the MOU with Mesa Union Teachers Association regarding the elected release time based on the Education Code 44987, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Item I, consideration of the approval of the quote from Kendall Hunt for the illustrative mathematics professional learning workshops. Can I get a motion?
I so move.
And,
Second.
and discussion.
So again, as I mentioned in my superintendent's report, this is part of our ongoing efforts to support our professional learning. And this is one component of that.
And the total cost here is $15,000. That one is come from general fund.
That's correct.
And that's for, because it's on your calendar for like 3 different times. Is that them coming 3 different times?
That is correct. Yes, they'll be coming out for facilitation during those student-free days that we have embedded at the start of the year, obviously before students arrive, but more importantly during the school year that are already part of our calendar.
Anything further? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the quote from Kendall Hunt for the illustrative mathematics professional learning workshops, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And that motion carries 401 in favor. Item J, consideration of approval of the TK through 8, 2025, 2026 bell schedule. May I get a motion?
I so move.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion.
Thank you,
Dr.
Mr. Sullivan. Not much has changed really year to year in our pulse schedule. There's been a few modifications over the years in the middle school and some adjustments to the morning period block for a couple of grade levels, but nothing beyond that. Our start and end times are consistent, and so this is very consistent with where we were last year.
There were highlights still in the junior high section. So I was wondering if that was supposed to actually highlight something or if it was maybe a carry, like something that was left in.
Those are more internal notes, but we'll get those cleaned up so that we can have a good forward-facing document.
Something that I discussed previously with Dr. Ramirez to make sure that in the past, that there's a good audit of, because we're required to have so many minutes per day and per week and for each student. So, and that's been audited. And so we're in compliance.
The other question I wrote on my agenda.
Anything further? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the TK8 2025, 2026 bell schedule, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And that motion carries 401 in favor. Item K, consideration of approval of the 2025, 2026 Mesa Union School Safety Plan. May I get a motion?
Move.
I'll second.
And discussion.
So thank you, Mr. Sullivan. The safety plan, this is one that has been updated in a few choice ways, so I want to highlight them. These are our protocols. You see there the calendar for rehearsal of events. Specifically, 2 things I want to make note that have been upgraded. One is a plan for offsite evacuations. And that was something that unfortunately last year we did need to employ. And that is something that our self-funding authority, who was our insurer, has actually created an MOU. It just was released about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. That would allow districts to officially partner in a facility sharing agreement, even going as far as to share personnel. So I think that it was actually our prompting, because we realized that many of these things had been done unofficially between administrations or even boards. But I think it was very, very important to codify that into something that was legally appropriate, that provided the right clarity for those roles. So I'm glad that it happened, and we're going to be looking to execute upon that with both Oxnard Union and with Pleasant Valley. I've had some good verbal agreements, if you will, just like we would with any other agency that needs to seek safety in our facility. So I wanted to highlight that as both an inclusion and also some additional follow-up that needs to be undertaken. The other one that I will make note of is there's a specific set of protocols that deal with immigration enforcement. Let me couch this very, very thoughtfully. Number one, there's been a lot of disruption made out in the community pertaining to immigration enforcement. That has there's a ripple effect to that, where families, it's unclear to me how our families truly are being impacted. We have a sense, but of course, we have to continue to stay on top of that just with our own examples. Beyond that, our protocol for immigration enforcement is very consistent how it would be with law enforcement at large. One important distinction that I'll draw: the law enforcement, you saw some of our law enforcement, there are families, there are community members, they're here. And so there is an unspoken understanding about how law enforcement engages with our schools, with our students, with our staff, with us. And it's been very, very above board with very sensitive situations that occur. Because, and this is just my layperson's take on it, because immigration enforcement isn't always in our community or from our community, there may not be the same sensitivity, there may not be the same approach, there may not be the same notification, and that puts us in a difficult situation. In the county, to my knowledge, that threshold has not been breached, where there's an active pursuit inside of a school building or inside of a school plant. That's not to suggest that it couldn't occur. And so therefore, it is part of our safety plan, but for the board and for the public, should be important to note that we will continue to look at it internally, and there are nuances that extend beyond just the activities themselves. There's liability on the individual, there's the reality of law and order, and the reality that there are laws that are on the books and will need to be enforced. So there's many important things to point out. I just wanted to call it out because it is included in our safety plan, and it is consistent with years, in my time at least, I can represent, of dealing with and working with law enforcement on a local level, primarily sheriff, Oxnard Police Department, and a few agencies with whom we've had the most contact over the years. So I just wanted to point that out because it does exist. It is something that we will look to continue to rehearse and speak to our staff about. But it goes beyond that in terms of other things that are out in the community and that have been so in a much more prevalent way than maybe in recent memory. So I just wanted to point out those 2 points for the board and obviously for the public, and I will entertain any questions or clarification that you may need.
Anything? Hearing nothing. All those in favor of approving the 2025-2026 Mesa Union School Safety Plan, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Item L, consideration of the acceptance of the quarterly report on the Williams Uniform Complaint regarding the textbooks and instructional materials, teacher vacancy and misassignment and facilities conditions. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion?
I'll second that. Has that definition expanded a little bit?
Like that title.
It seems like that title has grown from our previous years.
Yes, it has.
We've kind of shortened it to just be the Williams Uniform
Complaint.
Complaint Act,
Yes.
but it always included all these things.
Correct. Yes, yes. It has always encompassed all of them. Correct.
And there's no complaints.
That is correct. Yes, that's the important, that's
That's
most
the important piece. And if there were complaints, are we addressing them? But there's no complaints. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the quarterly report for the Williams Uniform Complaint regarding textbooks and instructional materials, teacher vacancy and or misassignment and facilities conditions, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Item M, consideration of the approval of the renewal agreement with Hopskip Drive. Can I get a motion?
I so move.
I'll second.
And discussion.
This pertains to our ongoing efforts to provide transportation. In this one, namely for students who attend regional programs outside of Mesa Union. Right now, to date, there's only a single student employing this. And I know that was my commitment back in the spring to investigate alternatives to. The alternatives that I'm looking at, including hiring our own personnel, right now would not actually outweigh the existing contracts, particularly because of the conflicting schedules that exist with different locations. I will continue to keep that at the forefront, try to find a way to minimize costs wherever possible and really increase efficiency more than anything else. But right now, this contract actually has been very worthwhile. You know, Mrs. Torres has also spent time with that as well. So I want to thank her for that. Anyway, I just wanted to make clear that that continues to be a priority, but this contract and this agreement and this service does provide us a lot of flexibility.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the renewal agreement with Hopskip Drive, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Technology, consideration of approval of the multi-year agreement with Securely. Can I get a motion?
I so move.
Second.
Second.
And comments?
This is part of our internet safety, part of one component of our internet safety protocol, both for students, staff, but also provides an additional component that allows teachers in the classroom to monitor usage. So that will continue to be a good tool for us across the board, particularly in middle school, where it's been well received and some teachers definitely utilize that on a frequent basis.
And this is renewal. We've used them in the past.
We've used them now for, I want to say it's been 3 years now, and this would be another 3-year renewal.
And is the cost relatively the same? What's the increase in the cost?
There is an increase in cost, but it's still very affordable given the competitors and the kind of service they provide. So we are able to leverage a little bit of a larger discount because of the pool with the county. So it's for us specifically, but it's at a bit of a discounted rate because of our partnership with the county office. They provide us a lot more scale.
And is this a one-time cost up front, or is it spread out over
No, it's
3
spread
years?
out. It's not an upfront cost.
So the total is 24.
Correct.
That is coming from general fund. Anything further? All those in favor of approving the multi-year agreement with Securely, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And that motion carries 401 in favor. Consideration of the approval of the field trip request to Catalina Islands Marine Institute at Toyon Bay. Can I get a motion?
That's the move.
Second the motion.
Wait, who? Okay. I wish I could have moved it. I love this place. So. Huh? Yeah. Anyway, any other comments or questions?
Continues to be a staple of middle school and a wonderful experience. Kids are always looking forward to it. And we're glad to continue to provide it.
Is it November again?
September.
September, is that kind of September? I thought it was
Yeah,
later.
that one comes up earlier.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, all those in favor of approving the field trip request to Catalina Islands Marine Institute, Toyon Bay, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. And then as an item of information, we have first read for board policies. And if you'll take a note on the second page here, things that will require some additional attention. Okay. Moving on to 13A, construction of approval of the to board authorized.
Real quick, are there any ones here I'm looking that require us to make choices of either A, B? Yeah, which ones are they? The ones you
The
highlighted?
ones that, yeah, options.
Okay, the
There's
options.
like
Okay, got it.
0,
04.
7, first half too. But 13, 12.
Okay, I see them highlighted there. Thank you. I didn't, there's some that said had major impact and others
Yeah,
that we have to
the-
make some choices. Okay.
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 All right. Now then, consideration of approval of the board to authorize the following teachers for the 2025-2026 school year in accordance with Ed Code 44256, Section B. Patrice McKenna for the 8th grade English elective, Shannon Roberson for the 6th grade science, and Olivia Ford for 7th grade social studies and mathematics.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Just to point out that this is a local, what's considered a local authorization, but it's based upon very specific criteria, both in Ed Code and that we have run through our credential specialist at the county office level, who collects this information from us. So this kind of work dates all the way back to spring.
Right. Anything further? All those in favor of approving and authorizing these teachers to teach these subjects, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Item 14, is that right? 13B. Would be on the back. There we go. Thank you for that. Consideration of approval of the board to authorize the following teachers for the 2025-2026 school year in accordance with Ed Code 44263, Cindy Davis to teach 6th grade math elective.
So
Can I get-
move.
Second the motion.
And discussions? So again, housekeeping,
How is this different than the previous one?
different Ed Code section.
Just different Ed Code.
Okay.
And has to do with the subject. So in this case, this has to do with grades 6 and below. There is actually a different credentialing requirement for grades 6 and below than 7th and up. And then it also depends on the specific content area.
Understood.
So-
Okay. 'Cause I saw one was, we had
Longer.
Ms. Roberson for 6th
Nuance.
grade, but that was science. This is
Correct.
6th grade math. So there's a different ed code. Okay. That was,
And one is for an elective versus a core class.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the authorization for Cindy Davis, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. And item C, consideration of approval of the hiring of the following certificated staff. Elizabeth Wong, paraprofessional, Roberto Cervantes for paraprofessional, and Melissa Stein, fifth grade teacher. Can I get a motion
Make a motion.
and a second?
I'll second.
And discussion?
Only that, we think we have some wonderful people coming on board, one of which is returning to us. And we're looking forward to welcoming them fully into the staff and helping them have a successful year.
Any further comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving Elizabeth Wong, Roberto Cervantes, and Melissa Stein of being hired for those classified positions. Wait, certificated positions, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Item D, consideration and approval of the resignation of Larissa Malone as a fifth grade teacher. Can I get a motion?
So move.
Second.
It always amazes me that we have to do this, formalize it. But anyway, anything further?
No.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the resignation of Larissa Malone, fifth grade teacher, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. And consideration of approval of the FMLA leave for employee 419.
I so move.
Okay.
Discussion? Hearing none. Did you have anything? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the FMLA leave for employee number 419, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries 401 in favor. Now we can go to item 14. Items for future consideration is going to be the unaudited actuals, the GAN limit resolution. Our next meeting will be on September the 16th at 6 p.m. Then there'll be one on October 21st at 6 p.m. and November 18th and December 16th, all at 6 p.m. With that, we'll adjourn the meeting at 8:19 p.m.